Not only is The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky First Chapter one of the best remasters I've ever played, this is just a fantastic JRPG all around, and I wish more JRPG remasters and games in general did what Gung Ho manages to do here. Hello everyone, I'm Megan Sullivan and welcome to my channel. So after dozens of hours of gameplay, I finally rolled credits on Trails in the Sky and I can honestly say I love this game. But instead of doing a traditional review, which pretty much everyone else has already done, I've decided to take a unique approach and list 10 things I think Trails in the Sky does so well that I'm hoping other RPGs take their cues from it going forward. Now, full disclosure, I did get a game code from the developer, but no, it did not sway me one way or the other. I'm just really impressed with this remaster. And if you're impressed with this video and haven't already, I would love for you to join my JRPG club by subscribing to this channel. I would super appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so let's just jump right into what makes Trails in the Sky First Chapter so special. And the first thing I want to highlight is the fantastic quality of life features. Man, do I hope future RPGs take their cue from Trails. There are so many quality of life features here that make this game such a joy to play, because they take the tedium and frustration out of the traditional ye olde RPG experience. In fact, if you're hesitant about picking up Trails in the Sky because you've heard it's really long and you're allergic to the idea of mindless grinding, wasting time backtracking back and forth between locations, and having to sit through long cutscenes that won't let you skip over them, I'm looking at you, Final Fantasy X, Trails has got your back, in big ways and in little fun ways too. For example, in Trails, you don't need to hold down a button to run. You can just tap a button to run and then tap the same button again when you want to walk. You can instantly fast travel around the world map and around town, which saves the player from having to constantly retrace their steps when going from point A to point B and then back to point A. It's great. And you know what else is great? A camera that actually works. Not only is the player fully in control of the camera, but it controls so smoothly. It's very fluid and responsive, and I can't tell you how nice it is not to have to fight the camera or rage because I got stuck in a corner during combat. Another great quality of life feature, skippable cutscenes. If you're bored with a story or impatient to get on to the next objective, you can just skip a cutscene or multiple cutscenes in a row if you so choose, although I'd be careful with this. Even side quests have interesting bits of information you might need to know about. Still, if you die multiple times in nightmare mode and don't want to rewatch the same pre-boss fight cutscene over and over and over again, you don't have to. Other quality of life features that deserve a shout out include the ability to instantly swap out party members on the world map, the ability to cook stat boosting meals anytime, anywhere you want. I love that you can go into the options menu and switch languages at any point. You can switch difficulty levels at any point and without being permanently locked out of hard and nightmare mode. What else? Shout out to the mini map, which is nice and big, the ability to save whenever and wherever you want. You can bring up the gameplay manual at any point with a tap of a button, and you can use the tap of a button to bring up character and enemy stats. These are just some of the fantastic quality of life features found in Trails, and although I'm aware many RPGs have some of these features, I can't think of any off the top of my head that have all of them. If you think of one that does, give some love to that RPG in the comment section below. Next up, we have comprehensive world building. I've played literally hundreds of RPGs in my life, and I can't tell you how many times I've either tuned out or gotten completely lost trying to puzzle out the rules of a world where magic and technology somehow coexist. Most games dump a bunch of arcane terminology and technical jargon into the player's lap during the onboarding process and then call it a day. And when it comes to story and lore, it's often hard to follow how different nations, political factions, and groups of citizens all tie into each other. But Trails is different. As the teenage heroes Estelle and Joshua travel from town to town learning how to be bracers, aka police officers, they're slowly spoon-fed information about what their duties are as bracers, what they can and cannot do as bracers, how bracers fit into a larger national security framework, and why all of that is relevant to the player. The explanation for all of this is surprisingly interesting and not at all hard to follow because it's not dumped on us all at once. I also like how there's an easy and logical explanation about how magic and technology can exist side by side. Not a lot of games bother to explain this oddball phenomenon, but in Trails, it turns out modernity and antiquity exist side by side because advanced technology is relatively new to the nation of Liberl. Another thing I love about Trails in the Sky is that it features NPCs that feel like they actually matter. As you guys know, in a lot of RPGs, you'll meet minor characters who only exist to provide clues about story progression or act as temporary obstacles blocking the player's path. But in Tales, it feels like even the most minor character has a purpose. For example, lowly thieves or gang members you meet in one chapter of the game, the ones that you assume you'll never see again, actually pop back up during later story beats. And the senior bracers who guide Joshua and Estelle on their journey aren't just passive observers. They actually offer good advice and will even temporarily join the team for an assist. This pleasantly surprised me and made Estelle and Joshua feel like they were deeply connected to the people of Liberl, which felt really nice. Up next, we have a great user interface and user experience. Before I joined the games industry, I never really paid attention to the UX or the UI. But now that I'm here, I really appreciate both of these features because they do indeed make a difference in how much I enjoy a game. And here's what I love about Trails. The developer goes out of its way to make Trails as idiot-proof as possible. Like when you're in combat, there are very easy to understand controller icons that tell you exactly what button command does what. The sword icon means a physical attack, a person sliding on the ground means dodge, shield means defend, the beaker means healing items, etc., etc. And since there are so many layers to what you can do in combat, everything is intuitively mapped to the controller and easy to see. Like, I love that whenever a special combat skill is ready to use, the button icon associated with it will glow in order to get your attention. Plus, general button prompts, turn order in combat, and health meters are all visible to the player, but without obstructing the player's view of the action. Love it. Next up is fun horizontal progression. So back when I played the demo for Trails in the Sky, I was worried that the gameplay mechanics were going to be a little obtuse, but I'm happy to say I was wrong. Once you get past the prologue, that whole world-building thing I talked about earlier really kicks into high gear. And not only did it allow me to better understand the world, it helped me better understand how the technology in the world informs how I play the game. And it essentially comes down to this. The world of Trails is filled with tiny elemental shards called septum fragments, which can be collected and turned into spherical crystals known as quartz, which exert energy into devices known as orbments. Orbments power everything from airships to street lamps, and tactical orbments help people in a fight. These tactical orbments are pocket watch type devices that have a number of slots for quartz. When you insert quartz into these slots and then attach the orbment to a weapon, that weapon will let a person wield awesome spells and perform all sorts of cool combat skills unique to the user. And what I love about swappable, multipliable, upgradable orbments is that they allow the player to diversify their spell set and manipulate their base stats in different ways in order to allow the player to progress in whichever way works best for them. So kudos to Trails for its simple but flexible customization mechanic. After that, we have side quests with a clear purpose. Side quests, usually in the form of job boards, are normally there to help players get a bit of extra cash and experience before they tackle the next big objective in the main quest. But what I like about Trails is that side quests are kind of main quests in and of themselves. Not only do these missions fill in some of the lore and backstory of Liberl, but completing them will also raise your letter rank as a bracer, allowing you to unlock extra rewards. They are also thematically correct in that these quests usually involve escorting people to safety or saving them from monsters, which fits the theme of the bracers acting as a police force. In other words, while job boards in other games feel a bit mercenary, you feel good completing side quests in Trails because the job requests are in line with what bracers are actually meant to do. Next up is strong female role models. Okay, this bullet point may not mean much to a lot of my audience, but it means a lot to me. As a woman, I feel like JRPGs are a real mixed bag when it comes to how they portray female protagonists. For every kick-butt character like a Lightning or a Velvet or a 2B, there are still a lot of JRPG girls assigned to the role of healer, damsel in distress, or support character, which is why I'm so happy that the ladies of Trails are a little more empowered than their JRPG counterparts. Nobody here here backseats anything. In fact, it's the Trails women who often take the initiative, no matter how old or young. I especially love that Estelle, a gluttonous, fearless, powerful, goofy sneakerhead, is allowed to take the lead over Joshua at times, not because she's better than he is, but because they're actually equal, and the game happily treats them as equals. And that makes me smile. Okay, we've gotten this far, but now we have to talk about the spectacular art, music, and animation. You guys, this remaster looks and sounds absolutely fantastic. The 3D world is lush and colorful, there's dynamic lighting, shadow and wind effects, detailed character animations add visual depth and dimension, the art direction is both stunning and creative, the fully animated cutscenes are a real treat to watch, and the world map features some good draw distance. The soundtrack has also been updated and sounds rich and full and exciting, and of course, now almost all the characters can talk. I can't remember if there was voiceover originally or not, there actually might have been. Although I found some of the English acting here to be a bit hit or miss in places. At any rate, the quality of the visuals and sound allows this remaster to feel modern and fresh without losing the original's heart and spirit. I'm really glad that this was my first Trails experience because it's amazing. Also, let's quickly talk about the sensible optimization. I can only speak for the PlayStation 5 version of the game, but I do like the optimization features for Trails in the Sky. Along with the ability to switch languages and difficulty at any time, you can remap the combat controls, you can turn on and off tips that pop up when you're idle or during loading screens, you can turn on and off the rumble, etc, etc. Just little things that make a big difference in how players experience the game. Now, I can't speak on whether or not this has the best accessibility options, I leave that to others to weigh in on, but at least there's something here other than just visual and audio sliders. And finally, what I really like about Trails in the Sky is the exciting cliffhanger. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I got thrown for a loop by the last-minute plot twist and the cliffhanger ending that comes with it. Now, to be clear, the main plot does wrap up very nicely, but I like how one major mystery that prevails throughout the story is revealed to be way more critical to the overarching narrative than it first appears to be. And if we want to learn more about that mystery and resolve the problems that that mystery presents, we gotta play Trails in the Sky, second chapter. What a great way to hook me. And there it is, 10 things I think Trails gets right that I hope other games emulate in the future. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later.